What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Empire YouTube channel. Today we are taking a look at Mew VMAX. Mew VMAX has been a dominant deck within the format, and it did win Worlds. So today we are going to be taking a look at a build that's a cross between Fusion and also DTE Mew with Path. I will say right now, this deck hard loses to Charizard regardless of if you get the Paths out. If they get a Charizard out that can attack, you have a very hard time being able to deal with it. I don't think that there's a way to actually one-shot it, because you hit 190 plus 4 power modifiers, so 3, 6, 9, 12, maxing out 310. The only way you one-shot a Charizard with this deck is if you gain the ability to use Cross Fusion Strike into Techno Blast with 4 of the power modifiers, being all 4 of your tablets, with something like having 2 of the fusion energy on you. So just keep that in mind. Charizard auto loss pretty much, but this is the list that we're rocking with today. We have Oricorio just for the -20. It makes math a little bit more awkward too with things like Gardevoir. We have the Melloetta with the Melodious Echo for 70x. Mew VMAX, as we know, it can copy one of your bench Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks. Genesect for the draw engine, and all of the fun stuff in between. As always, I'll throw the deck list up right here, and I do want to say I'm sorry if this video is kind of off compared to the rest. I'm not feeling the greatest, but I wanted to make sure that I get a video out for you guys, because Mew has been a fun deck to play, and I think this video more showcases the turbo aspect of Mew and what it can do. So, as always, if you guys do enjoy today's video, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications, enjoy the gameplay. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys on next week's Monday video. Later. Alrighty, guys. So we are going into the very first game with Fusion Mew. Gonna see exactly what we can do. Hopefully gain access to a lot of potential. I am gonna go first. It is a cross build between Fusion and non-Fusion, but depending on what we're playing against, I want the ability to kind of put my opponent in an awkward spot. So, my opponent is playing Arceus Giratina, it seems. So we are going to have to be weary of those Path to the Peaks. But thankfully, we do have quite a bit of cards that we actually can work with at the moment. So go for those 2 Genesects, and we do actually have access to Oricorio as well, which means that the Oricorio makes it to where the Giratina cannot one-shot us, so there's not too much that we really have to worry about. So attach this Forest Seal Stone, use that Fusion Strike system for 2 cards, getting that fusion energy, getting another Genesect to put down as well, so we can put the Mew here. Can use another Genesect, drawing us 3 cards, just to continuously see a lot of what we need attaching to the Mew. And then from here, we do have access to 3 Ultra Balls, but I think what we're going to do instead is just use one of those Fusion Strike systems again, getting to 6, just to keep an eye of what's in our hand, because next turn we can benefit off of those Ultra Balls and get 2 Mew VMAXs into play, which means that we are in a really good spot. And with the 2 fusion energy, providing that we get it again, we actually can use Techno Blast without using any power modifiers, which means that it makes things a lot easier when it comes to using our power tablets later. So my opponent going to be able to get that Trinity charge off, and we are going to be able to use that Ultra Ball, as well as Genesect, being able to get us a Counter Stadium or the Lost Vacuum. I think at this point, depending on what I top deck, I'll just go for the Counter Stadium, and then we can draw 6 fresh new cards and go from there. So we get our own Path to the Peak. So what we'll do is use the Ultra Ball, getting rid of these 2, and we can grab the Mew VMAX. I could have kept the Path to the Peak to actually shut my opponent off of Arceus, so That would have been something to definitely keep in mind. We can use that Star Alchemy. Star Alchemy will allow us to grab a counter stadium, which means that grab something like the Lost City. Put Lost City in play, use that for Seal Stone, and I want to keep the power tablets, so what we'll do is Fusion Strike System 4-5, and we actually get a lot of what we need. We get access to another Ultra Ball, we have Boss's Orders, and we can actually KO the Giratina if we wanted to. But what we're going to do right now is just... let's see. I could have attached to this Mew and then use the Sparkle, but it's okay. What we'll do is just use that Cross Fusion Strike for Techno Blast. Getting 2 prize cards, and we do gain access to Cram-O-Matic, which means we can actually get a Switch cart in order to potentially take a KO on this Arceus V-Star. So my opponent is going to use Power Edge. So there is no counterplay at the moment with my opponent, which means that we can go Cram-O-Matic for the Ultra Ball. Getting rid of that Cram-O-Matic, unfortunately, but it's not the end of the world. We can actually use the Elisa Sparkle, and we can just target the Genesect and the Mew, getting one of those energies out, and put it on the Genesect just in case my opponent does play something a little bit peculiar. And I'm actually going to retreat this Mew just so my opponent can't take a potential knockout on it, and we're going to have to pass. Now, my opponent is at technically 310 HP with the Arceus V-Star. We do have the tablets to knock it out, so we are hitting for 230, 240, 270, 300, so we do need to use 3 power modifiers, I believe, in order to take KO. And we can actually KO the Giratina as well, so we don't even have to use the power modifiers. So we can go here, use the Boss's Orders into the Giratina, and then we can actually use the Cross Fusion Strike, and this will allow us to use Techno Blast, 240, KOing my opponent. And that Path to the Peak being in play means my opponent can't use that Arceus V-Star V-Power to search for any 2 cards. So my opponent can potentially hit for 180 as they just did. And we actually have access to all 4 power tablets. So definitely putting us in a solid position for us to win, as we do have the retreat into the Switch cart, into the 1, 2, 3, 4 power tablets for us to be able to use the Cross Fusion Strike, going into that Techno Blast, 330 damage. Pretty insane. I think, let's see. I think we actually needed all 4 plus the Choice Belt, because we're hitting, let's see. We'll take the prizes and then we'll do the math. Because we're hitting 210 plus the belt, which is 240. And then 270, 300. Okay, hold on. The belt, you have the belt, and then, so you're hitting 210 with 2 fusion energy, and then with the belt, you're hitting 240, but the belt technically gets canceled out by the V-Guard, so you're at 210 still. So then you're hitting 270 with 2, so you need the third one. So we needed 4 power modifiers there in order to take the KO, and thankfully we were able to do that. So, yeah, that was game 1. Let's shoot right into a game 2 and see how we can have this game go. Alrighty, guys, going into the game number 2. we're going to see exactly what we can do with Mew. For this game, there is the chance that we are going to go second. So if we do that, potentially we can showcase Melloetta taking a big KO. And we actually start very well. We get the Fusion Energy, we get the Melloetta, we get the Mew, get the Genesect, we get everything that we could ask for. So let's see what we can do. So my opponent is playing Chimpao. So my opponent brings up something like that Chimpao. We actually do have the ability to knock it out, providing that we can find one power modifier. So my opponent having that promo Chimpao that comes out in the brand new Chimpao battle decks. So my opponent going for the Chimpao here. Gonna be able to find 2 energy. We're gonna see exactly what they can do following their turn. So my opponent hits the Pokestop, discarding 2 more water energies, which isn't unfortunate, but at the same time it kind of is unfortunate. My opponent may have been banking off of the Chimpao there, but gonna see exactly what we can do. We're gonna be benching the Genesect. We do have access to the Battle VIP Pass as well, which means we can max out our board and get everything going. We can attach to the Melloetta. Go for the Fusion Strike System number 1 with Genesect. All we need is the Forest Seal Stone and a potential way for us to power up this attack, because it does 7, 14, 21, and oh man, the only way that I see this is if off this Pokestop I hit something to start discarding cards from my hand. And we don't hit anything. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Okay, let's see. I can play the Palpad, thankfully. Putting the Iona back. I can use a second Genesect to Fusion Strike System for 2. Hitting the Elesa Sparkle, which means we do have the KO now, thankfully. So we can use that Elesa Sparkle, targeting the Mew and the Melloetta. Wow! We have 2 Fusion Strike energy prized. That's insane. Okay, so that's going to be a huge change of plans. I should have definitely checked that. Alrighty. So instead, what we're going to have to do here... let's see. Use Fusion Strike System for 1. Getting that useless Battle VIP Pass. The only thing I can do is hit for 140 and hope my opponent can't do too much. That was so unfortunate that we have 2 Fusion Energy prized. We had a big KO right there. We actually would have put a big dent in what my opponent wants to do. Now next turn, I can still play down cards, but means that my opponent is going to have an extra turn. I'm going to have to be weary of how things go. Thankfully, if I do get the Mew VMAX out... Okay, so my opponent goes for the Genesect. So if I get the Mew VMAX out, I can actually, depending on how it goes, I can actually use the Mew VMAX to hit 70, shuffle the 3 prizer back in, and actually promote something like this Genesect again. Meaning that I do gain the chance to put my opponent in an awkward spot. So I can take the knockout, remove a 3 prizer from the board, which means my opponent can only take 2 prizes, and it gives me the chance to be back ahead. So, drawing another Genesect. Unfortunately, I think what we'll do first, play down the Judge. My opponent does have a decent hand, but ours can be better, so use that Cramomatic, discarding the Battle VIP Pass. Hitting the Tails, unfortunately. So we'll go for the Genesect to draw 4 cards. Hitting the Power Tablet, which is exactly what we needed, which means now what we have the ability to do. So we'd be hitting 50, 80, 80, and Chimpao as the 140. Means that we can take the knockout. I'm not too sure what I'm saying right now, because I seem to be a little bit out of it, things. But, actually, correction, I evolved both of my Mews, so there's no point in me doing that, but I do gain the ability to force my opponent to have to find 6 energy, plus rare candy, plus Frigibax, plus another Chimpao, and I don't think that that's going to be very possible. So, instead what we'll do, we'll go into the Mew. Cramomatic for the Nest Ball. Hit the tails, which is fine. I'm used to it by now. We can use the last Genesect. Drawing us a couple more cards. Cramomatic for the Nest Ball. Hitting heads, which is perfect, which means that we can grab something like the Lost City for next turn. Which means that we gain the ability to potentially Lost City my opponent's Chimpao. Actually, we'll do it now, because with being able to Lost City the Chimpao, it means that my opponent can't get it back, plus there's no Pokestop in play, so we'll just use that Max Miracle, 110, not affected by effects on my opponent's active, taking 2 prize cards. Hitting 2 Lost Vacuum, so now if we decide we want to try and put my opponent in an awkward spot, we do gain the ability to do so. So my opponent using Lumineon, grabbing Irida, most likely going to be able to rare candy Bax Caliber, and if they have Chimpao plus superior energy retrieval, oh, and there's Iono, so my opponent taking interesting. Iono, fair play, I definitely see it. I think I'm going to have to target my opponent's Bax Caliber if they do get it out and don't have a viable swing this turn. There's the Chimpao. My opponent going for the Quick Search. So if my opponent has Rare Candy, Quick Search, or sorry, Rare Candy Bax Caliber, Superior Energy gets 4 back. My opponent can't one-shot us, so my opponent does concede. I think that's going to be it for the gameplays. Just kind of showcases the turbo aspect of, you know, Fusion Mew and what it can do. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.